Welcome, friends, to our fifth season of RAC Biggest Weight Loss Challenge 2025. Every year, people from UAE participate in various categories to compete each other to achieve a healthy weight. This year, we have around 24,000 plus participants enrolled from the UAE as well as India. The lucky and determined participants win the awards. To support their participants' journey in the weight loss, we communicate with them weekly tips and webinars. So in this contest, today we are starting our first session of OBEFIT webinar series with an interesting topic and much awaited, sustainable weight loss. I'm pleased to introduce our speaker who is very experienced in health and wellness coaching, Professor Adrian Kennedy. Professor Adrian Kennedy is a multifaceted person with degrees in business, law, and PhD in health studies from USA. He was a founder director of Harvard Institute of Lifestyle Medicine, USA. He worked as Director Executive Health in Tata Steel, India. Then worked as a director of Polo Life, where he pioneered corporate health and school health programs. Now he is a Chief Wellness Officer at our own RAC Hospital, UAE. Talking about his achievements, he was a national champion of India for 100 and 200 meters athletics and an Asian champion as well. He was a member of the team that swam the English Channel from England to France. He has tracked the Himalayas and is a black belt karate instructor too. He served as a core committee member in Asian and Commonwealth Games organized in India. He has received prestigious Government of India Award for Sports Management. I can speak much about him. We can't stop. But without wasting much of time, I welcome Professor Kennedy to present his session. Professor Kennedy. Professor, over to you. Sir, you are mute.
You can speak, sir.
Friends, can you hear me? Dr. Wilku, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, that's lovely. And Sadeh, thank you very much. Where do I go back? Yeah, okay. Friends, thank you very much. Dr. Wilku, thank you in particular for the opportunity in speaking at our webinar today. Now, I must tell you that when you invited me a couple of days back to speak on this webinar, and I began to read up on the subject, I realized that if I were to simply talk about it in one sentence, I would say that sustainable weight loss is a journey and not a place. It's a journey and not a place. Uh, it's a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong journey of health. And it is certainly the best gift that you could ever give yourself, the gift of health. Now, I am unable to take my slides forward. So I'd request my colleagues in the next room to kindly come across and help me with that. Sorry, come here. I don't see my picture. So I have to look at it. Friends, my apologies for that. What do I call it? My apologies for that senior moment. That's a good way to put it. My apologies for that senior moment. Well, I just don't know how to use a computer. So I'll do the best I can. Yes, I'll do the best I can. And again, my apologies. Okay, friends. Uh, our topic today is sustainable weight loss. And as I mentioned earlier, my single learning in my last couple of days of reading on this subject is that this is sustainable weight loss is a journey and not a place. Weight loss is a place, but sustainable weight loss is a journey. Okay, I'll quickly move into my presentation. Before we talk about weight loss, let's try and understand. Before we talk about weight loss, let's try and understand what obesity is. How do we evaluate obesity? What exactly is obesity? Now, there are several ways in which you could uh, quantify obesity or explain obesity, and those are commonly known that if you are to be located or identified as an individual who's overweight and obese or whatever nomenclature you would like to use, well, then you would, if you are a medical professional, you would refer to a BMI, that is the body mass index. And you would say that your body mass index is above 25, you are overweight. Your body mass index is above 30, you are obese. If you are a health professional, you will probably use the height weight range and say that for your height, your weight is beyond the acceptable range. And if you're 10 kgs over, you're called overweight. If you're 20 kgs or 20% over, you would be referred to as being obese. Now, those are some ways, and there are other ways. For example, thank you. For example, you could refer to the body fat range, which means you look at the quantity of fat under the skin. And if those body fat ratios exceed 25%, if you're a male, or exceed 18% if you're a male, or 25% if you're a female, then you are considered over fat. Or simply, you could take your waist measurement. Just take a string or a tape, measure your waist, and if your waist is more than half of your height, you are overweight. And sometimes you could also be obese if it is much more. So these are the physical characteristics of obesity. At any rate, within our group today, most of us, or 80% of our 25,000 participants, have a BMI of above 30. So we would refer to ourselves as being in the obese range, not simply overweight, but probably slightly obese. So, what is the cause of this obesity? How did we get here? Now, it would not be wrong of me to say that genetics has a role to play. I mean, whether this is a major role or a minor role is really not the point here. But the point here is that there are 25 genes in the human system, in the human genetic system, that are specifically relevant to weight or obesity. So genetics is one probability. You could inherit obesity from parental structure. If both parents are overweight, well, then your probabilities of being overweight are more. If one parent is overweight, your probability is reduced by about 50%. But nevertheless, one aspect is genetically endowed. But the second aspect is your family environment. Now, if your family environment promotes excess eating of food and reduce exercise activity, you would inherit these characteristics by and large from your parents, and usually size runs in families very often. Then there are the social factors. For example, if you are in the upper middle class, so you are in a socially upward bracket, or at any rate, if you are not in a level of poverty or in a level of want, usually your food intake is of a quality that is rich in fat, and therefore you have excess calories, or you attend attend many more parties and weddings and so on and so forth, and therefore there's an excess intake of food, and you are busy with your social activities. There's less activity for you to involve yourself in. And then sometimes it could be your eating habits that promote obesity. For example, the simplest, and perhaps the one activity in eating that leads to the most obesity, is a heavy meal at night. Your nighttime meal is a meal that is set aside for, well, your daytime meals are set aside for activity and utilization. Your nighttime meal is usually a storage meal. So the way you eat food, the quantity of food that you eat at the different meals can influence obesity. Lack of exercise. And of course, in some instances, medical factors, hypothyroidism, and several other factors. So, obesity as a structure is what we've spoken about. We've also defined that the causes of obesity could be genetics, it could be social factors, it could be inappropriate eating habits, it could be lack of physical activity, lack of utilization of calories, or it could be medical factors. So, if you are obese, then, or overweight, then how do you manage your obesity? Well, I would imagine that if you were to visit your medical professional, and why should you visit a medical professional if you are overweight? Because the World Health Organization has quantified and identified and stated emphatically that obesity is not simply a social factor, it is a disease. It is caused by some medical condition, and at any rate, it results in a whole range of medical factors. It results in a whole range of medical factors. So, therefore, if you were to go to your doctor, he would initially tell you, okay, just go ahead, reduce your diet and increase your exercise activity. That is called lifestyle change. And these two simple sentences, reduce your food intake, increase your exercise activity, will hold you through for the rest of your life, irrespective of any medical condition. But sometimes it is possible that you are overweight, extremely overweight. And as a consequence of your obesity or excess body weight, you get hypertension or diabetes and some other such factors. Now, under those circumstances, it is important not just to deal with the hypertension and the diabetes, but also to deal with the cause, which is obesity. And therefore, your doctor might, you, if required, if essential, give you certain medication that reduces your appetite, and therefore you don't feel like eating. It reduces the absorption of the food that you eat, and therefore, irrespective of what you eat, the calorie utilization is less. Or it could increase your metabolism, and therefore, irrespective of what you eat, it is completely metabolized, and very little of it goes into fat storage. But then that is your doctor's decision. But there are medicines that do help you, but you cannot take these medications without a medical prescription and without your doctor's advice. Now, we come to a stage where many of our colleagues in this challenge are more than 40 or 50 BMI, which means more than double of the body weight that they should have according to their height structure. Now, in these circumstances, medicine alone, medicine is extremely helpful, lifestyle is extremely helpful. However, by virtue of the weight being so much, you have a whole range of problems relating to the body structure. You are unable to carry your weight, you are unable to walk, you are unable to move. Under these circumstances, then bariatric surgery or surgery to reduce your weight, to remove the fat, liposuction, for example, or bariatric surgery, which would then reconstruct your digestive structure such that you have less absorption of food, etc., etc., etc. Now, this can drop your weight tremendously by 20 or 30 kgs with a single procedure. And you usually don't require more procedure in a lifetime. Usually, but sometimes it may be necessary. But usually, you don't require a second procedure. But a single act of bariatric surgery can reduce your body weight by 20 or 30 kgs. And this will result in a whole change in your medical structure, in your hypertension, in your diabetes, and so on and so forth. So, surgical management of obesity is not to be frowned upon. But nevertheless, in spite of this, more than 80% of individuals who embark on a weight loss program will regain their weight. And that is why we are talking about sustained weight loss. And that is why we are talking about sustained weight loss. So, what is sustainable weight loss? What do you need to do to keep those kilos off? very often we put our weight on back. The objective of this particular webinar is to find ways or to suggest ways by which we keep your weight off. So I've given you 4 propositions, or is it 5? 4 or 5 propositions. I would like to make it 5, even while 4 are mentioned here. 1, obesity is a medical situation. You must see your doctor first. Your doctor will advise you regarding your comorbidities. It could be hypertension, diabetes, hypercholesterol, or whatever it is. It's beyond your individual management. You need your doctor to advise you. That is the first step or the first point to keep in mind. The second point to keep in mind is your diet. Your diet is the single largest factor that is relevant in your weight, in your increasing of body weight. It's the single largest factor. So you have to manage a diet. But it warrants a slide by itself, and I will talk about that shortly. The third is activity. The food that you eat, if not utilized in activity, is converted into fat. 50% of the food that you eat every day is used by the body for survival. Internal body processes, digestion, respiration, and so on and so forth. The balance 50% is used by physical activity. If you do not have physical activity, that extra 50% of food or the food that is not utilized by the body and not more than 1,000 calories is used by the body, then the balance amount, and usually we eat between 2,000 and 3,000 calories, is converted into fat. So therefore, exercise activity, and again, warrants a slide by itself. And then there is lifestyle change, emotional eating, stress, anxiety, depression. All these things impact your endocrine system, and all these things increase your appetite, and they make you eat food unnecessarily, unwantingly, but beyond your control. So you have lifestyle change. And the fifth point that I would like to add is what I've said in the beginning. Whatever you do, please understand that weight loss is not a target, it is a direction. And this direction is going to remain with you for the rest of your life. But look at the benefits. Irrespective of whether you lose weight or not, the very fact that you are attempting to do so, the very fact that you are reducing your intake, the very fact that you are increasing your activity is going to give you health. And that health is the best gift you can give yourself. So, we talk about individual slides. Let's talk about nutrition. The very first rule in nutrition is to have a balanced diet. Now, a balanced diet means that you will have sufficient protein, carbohydrate, fats, and fluid in appropriate quantities. So let's take that as it is. Your food should be normal, it should be natural. You should have sufficient fruit and vegetables. You should have sufficient meat. If you're a non-vegetarian, you should have sufficient dairy products. You should have sufficient rice and wheat and fiber. And you should, of course, have sufficient fluid that goes with it. And as the seminars continue, you will have our next talk very likely on nutrition, which is an entire session on nutrition. You will get the details. But I will simply draw one or two aspects to your attention. One, when you choose your food, choose natural versus processed, which means that you will opt immediately for, and this is for good health, this is also for weight loss, to having foods that are wholesome, Fruit and vegetable is a good choice and a daily necessity as opposed to the hamburger and coke, which is empty calories and has lower nutritional value and a lot of chemicals and additives. So, natural foods versus processed foods, you will go for the natural foods. Whole grain versus processed, which means that brown bread or whole wheat bread or whole grain bread or chapatis or whatever you would like to call it is better than processed maida. Brown rice is better than white rice. Wheat is better than uh, what we refer to as maida. So anything that is whole, has fiber, it improves your motility, it cleans your digestive tract, and it is good for you. Of late, the Harvard Medical School and other such institutions are emphasizing that one of the essential rules of good health, one of the essential rules of nutrition is home cooked versus commercial, which means that you eat food at home 6 days a week because it's healthy, because it's nutritious, because it has no chemicals or less chemicals. Of course, you can celebrate with the family a meal a week or some such thing. And the second aspect in that I would like to emphasize in nutrition is calories and portion control. Now, it would serve little purpose for me to tell you simply take a single plate, fill that plate, do not go back for seconds. Just do not go back for seconds. That is one good rule to keep in mind. The second simple good rule to keep in mind is the meal at night is a reasonably unnecessary meal, especially for individuals who are morbidly or grossly overweight. Who are overweight, because that is the meal that converts all your food into fat. So, if you were to talk in terms of dieting, I would simply say do not eat the nighttime meal, do not go for second servings at all, and that itself would answer all your questions on how much should I eat, etc., etc. And the third is to keep in mind this, that there are only 3 or 4 diets in the world that are medically recommended as good. And these diets have stood the test of time. The Mediterranean diet that gives you everything, including a glass of wine, if you would like to have that. It gives you a little bit of cheese, a little bit of meat, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of vegetable, a little bit of fiber, a little bit of wheat, a little bit of bread, a bit of everything. Is the best diet that you can have. It has stood the test of time. You could have the DASH diet. It is a medically related diet. It is similar to the Mediterranean diet, but it manages your blood sugar levels, it manages your hypertension. You could go back to the ancient act of fasting. You know, in many countries, one day in the week, they do not eat any food, they only have fluid. Just one day in the week. You have your last meal at night, and then you get up in the morning, you just have water or something similar, a soup perhaps, or maybe a fruit juice, not from the market, but juiced from fruits available at home. And you have just 2 or 3 of those through the day. You have saved yourself 2,500 to 3,000 calories, which is half a kg or 1 pound of fat that would have otherwise accumulated. Nowadays, of course, we talk in terms of intermittent fasting, which is similar, except that you don't eat a meal for about 8 to 16 hours in a day. And as a consequence, the body goes into the mode of utilizing existing body fat as a means of energy. That's a diet that has got a lot of medical acceptance. And then there is the low calorie diet, which means that you eat less, and a high fiber diet, which means fruit and vegetable. And then, of course, there is The diet for those who would like to have it, the vegan diet, which is vegetarian, and the raw food diet, which is uncooked foods. And I have to tell you, while the raw food diet is, to my mind, a little extreme, it is probably the most effective in reducing your blood sugar and hypertension. The vegan diet is excellent. Excellent. Vegetarian foods are excellent. Remember that protein can also come from grain and pulses and gram and dals and legumes and beans. A vegan diet is not without protein. So these are some thoughts to keep in mind. Now, this slide is going to be available with you through the next 3 months. So have a look at it and remember that this is a simple consideration of diet. Now, what does diet do? It takes in food. It takes in food, which is then evaluated in terms of calories. The body requires 1,500 calories or 1,000 calories to live. It requires about what? 5 to 800 calories at the rate of 100 calories per 8-hour working day. So that would make 800 calories. You put the two together and you have 1,800 calories, but your intake is 2,500 calories if you are a normal urban individual. You're eating 2,500, you are utilizing 800. The excess 500 or 600 calories is converting into fat on a day-to-day basis, unless you do your exercise. Now, there are two types of, my health indicates activity versus exercise. Now, in earlier days, and I'm talking 100 years and more back, when we didn't have our cars and automobiles and escalators and lifts and things like that, we did a lot of walking. We did a lot of carrying. Now, this activity of walking through the day, of lifting the things that you have to carry in the shopping malls or wherever, itself burns many, many calories. So you have to be physically active. And not only that, it moves your joints, it moves your bones, it strengthens your bones, it gives agility to the human body, it improves your respiration, it strengthens your heart, it does so many things. So physical activity through the day is an excellent idea. And I'm only telling you things that will help you to sustain your weight loss on a day-to-day basis. Activity is exercise without exercising. Simply put, maybe my own definition, but simply put. But what is exercise? Exercise is a programmed activity over a period of time that covers all the requirements of the body. So it is specific, it is effective, it is well directed. Activity is anything that helps you to move. That itself is an exercise program. It's called functional exercise. Leave it aside. Now let's talk about exercise. Before I even talk about what an exercise program is, I frequently say that there is no better magical pill in the whole world. And I say this to my pharmaceutical colleagues also, that there is no better medical pill in the entire pharmaceutical industry that can enhance health more than a single pill of exercise for 1 hour a day. Now, exercise is going to increase the heart rate, it's going to improve your circulation, it is going to burn fat, it is going to strengthen the muscles, it is going to improve your joints, it is going to reduce your blood sugar, it is going to reduce your blood pressure, it is going to strengthen your heart and prevent heart attacks, and so on and so forth. Exercise has profound benefits. It reduces stress, it helps you to sleep, and so on and so forth. So, how do you exercise? Stamina increases the heart rate, strengthens the lungs. Aerobic is slow, moderate exercise over a period of time. Walking, cycling, swimming are good examples. Anaerobic is where you play a game of football, you play a game of tennis, you play a game of squash, and so on and so forth. Over a period of time, you have specific moments of high intensity activity, which is not a good idea for individuals who are overweight. And therefore, I would prefer that individuals who are overweight simply use aerobic activity, walking, cycling, swimming, and so on and so forth. Now, strength, exercises for strength increase the muscle tissue, and increased muscle tissue increases metabolism, and increased metabolism utilizes fat as energy and sugar as energy, and therefore you lose weight and improve in health. You can do freehand exercises, simple routine body movements, which are good for you. You can use your body weight to strengthen your muscle, which is good for you. But I can tell you this, if you want to double your metabolism, if you want to improve your metabolism, and you are overweight, and as a consequence of which you cannot go for a walk and things like this, it is hard on the knees, I believe that you are the perfect candidate for weight training. And therefore, I would recommend very strongly, my friends, that those of us who are overweight must join a gym and let us do intense exercise activity in a stationary location, which will improve your muscles and improve your metabolism. And then flexibility, you can do freehand exercises, of course, but there is nothing as profound as yoga. The breathing techniques, the meditation techniques, the stretching techniques, and you do each movement only once or twice, but in joint mobility exercises, you do each movement 10 or 15 times. I strongly recommend yoga. So, in my book, walking, swimming, etc., weight training, and yoga are excellent exercises for those of us who are overweight. How do you get fit? Frequency is how often, I would say 6 days a week. Intensity is moderate, don't overdo it. And time is 1 hour. Well, 1 hour, morning or evening, or even better, morning and evening. 1 hour of exercise activity will burn in an obese individual 500 calories. 500 calories over a week is half a kg. In a month, it's 2 kgs. So exercise is an important activity. Lifestyle change. I'm going to give you, I believe, 4 aspects. We've already spoken about diet and exercise, so I will not touch upon it. Medical screening. You must go to your doctor to know your numbers. What is my blood pressure? What is my blood sugar? What is my blood lipid levels? You must know this. How is my kidney functioning? How is my liver functioning? How is my heart functioning? You must know these things. You owe it to yourself. We have profound knowledge around the world. We know exactly how far the moon is. We know how fast a plane flies. I mean, we know so many things, but what do we know about our own bodies? We need to know our own numbers. What is my height? What is my weight? What is my blood sugar? What is my hypertension? What is my blood pressure? We need to know these things about ourselves, because then it allows the professional to help you to plan the best way forward. And it will be different for different people. I will have a different program. Somebody else will have a different program. So you must tailor make your program to your needs. And then, of course, we come to the mental aspects. Stress, anxiety, depression. These things cause a whole lot of endocrinic changes in the system. It messes with the endocrine system. It increases your adrenaline. It does everything. I mean, it messes up with your entire structure. Your chemicals in your body go haywire, and as a consequence, you suffer from a whole lot of ailments such as hypertension or diabetes, etc., etc. And it all starts with stress. Much of it starts with stress, including overeating, which comes from stress related factors. So, stress will come from work, stress will come from home, personality, routine crisis. Problems at home will cause you stress. Problems at work, insufficient salary, etc., will cause you stress. Ambitious, aggressive, competitive, result oriented personalities will have stress. The daily routine where you have too little time to sleep, too much of work, too little family and personal time will cause you stress. Crisis, illness in the family, financial crisis, legal crisis, emotional crisis, children, parents, all cause stress. And all this messes with your internal structure, your internal hormones and chemicals. And therefore, you'll have to look for solutions. There is no better solution than your counselor, your psychologist. They will advise you on how best to modify and solve these issues. And then, of course, and I might tell you that I've had the occasion to go to a counselor, and my counselor has spoken to me about sleep, the great benefits of sleep, nature's way of managing stress. She has told me how exercise burns the stress hormone of adrenaline. She has told me how relaxation reduces the heart rate, improves the lung function. She has told me about the value of friends and family and social support. To know that there is someone out there who's going to help you to solve your problems reduces my stress. Mental well-being is an important aspect in the overall aspect of sustainable weight loss. And then, of course, behavior change. In a single sentence, what does this mean? It simply means please avoid excess alcohol and no smoking. It's going to do you no good whatsoever. There could be conflict as to whether wine is good or whiskey is better. Is it good for the heart? Is it bad? But at least there is discussion on those points. There is no question about smoking, friends. There is nothing good about smoking. You have to opt out of it. And if at all you want to make excuses for your evening glass of wine, moderation. If you insist on moderation and exercise, you have to insist on moderating your habits. And therefore, we come to what is my last slide. Why do we want to undertake a sustainable weight loss program? Only for the benefits, the health benefits. This is the greatest gift you can give yourself, the gift of health. The fact that you will lose weight is an additional benefit. The fact that you are doing diet and exercise is going to give you so many benefits. So, the reason why you need to embark on a sustainable weight loss program is to maintain continuous weight loss year after year. That is the objective that we are setting. I can tell you this. In doing that, you will give yourself the gift of good health. So the reason is good health and weight loss. How do you do this? How do you manage a sustainable weight loss program? 2 or 3 simple factors. One is your diet. I mentioned it to you. And if you were to ask me in one sentence, quit eating your meal at night. You will reduce 300 to 500 calories. Keep in mind all the other good things that you have to do. Exercise. Please make sure that you are physically active and you do your exercise. Now, you can do several forms of exercise. Swimming is excellent. Sitting cycling is excellent. Aquarobics is excellent. There are so many things that you can do. Yoga is excellent. Weight training is excellent. Who says that you cannot exercise simply because you are overweight? Avoid some exercises. excessive walking and running and all these factors are not good. But the exercise cycle is perfect and you can cover the same distances without moving out of your room while watching TV. So exercise is important. Yoga, weight training, and some form of low impact aerobic exercises, lifestyle change, sleep, important, manage your stress, important, keep your family support, talk to your doctor. These are important things. Now, a few tips. You have to understand the importance of weight loss. Remember, the more you exercise, the more frequently. Exercise is not as important as regularity of exercise. The more regular you are with your exercise, I mean, the importance of weight management is giving yourself the gift of good health. Simple. That is one point. The second is you need to get medical advice. When you get medical advice, you will get specific tips tailored to your specific needs. It is perfectly possible that the great benefits of modern medical science will itself benefit you by reducing your weight, either medically or surgically. Set realistic goals. What is a realistic goal? Let us assume you talk in terms of 2 kgs a month by doing these simple activities I've spoken. That is 24 kgs in a year. Now, that is a great weight loss. Slow and steady progress, long term mindset. I've already told you. Slow and steady, moderation, long term means lifelong. Maintain motivation. How can you maintain motivation? Well, you can participate in the weight loss challenge once every year. That's helpful. You can join the gym. Now that is helpful. You can go for an exercise class with your other colleagues who are also overweight. Keep the community moving. Keep yourself moving. And finally, celebrate success. And I know that you will have it. Friends, if Dr. Wilku was in the same room as me, I would see that he's looking at his watch. So, with this, I believe that I have to thank you for the occasion of allowing me to speak with you on sustainable weight loss. Keep in mind, meet your doctor, get to know your needs. 2, manage your diet, eat less, skip your nighttime meal. Number 3, exercise activity 5 to 6 days a week is so important to burn those extra calories. Sleep, managing social contacts, having happiness and not messing with your endocrine system is a good way to do it. These can give you what I believe is sustainable weight loss. You will lose weight and you will continue to lose weight year after year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for a wonderful session. As always, all answers covered, so there are very less queries to be addressed, but still, I have got many. First of all, there is one question from Mr. Harsahej. He has asked, before that, I would rather congratulate Susan. So, Thomas, she has agreed on your presentation, she has agreed that she will start yoga today and walking. Very good. At least one has been motivated to do some sort of exercise. Great. The first question from her side is, my gym trainer suggested me for a keto diet. I suffer from hypertension. Is keto diet good for me?
You know, I'll put it to you like this. I would prefer a balanced diet. Simply put, A keto diet has a specific emphasis on certain aspects of protein, etc., etc., etc. Now, while protein is good for you and protein helps you build muscle and muscle builds metabolism, I have no doubt about any of these things. But if you're an individual who's overweight, you have to look at the big picture. I would prefer a balanced diet. I would prefer an exercise program to go with it. I am not in favor of any of the diets that are modernly available. Uh, Not at all. I am comfortable with two or three. I'm old fashioned. I'm comfortable with the DASH diet. I'm comfortable with the Mediterranean diet. These are the diets that I'm comfortable with. In other words, a balanced diet. So, to answer your question, Kamsraj, to answer your question, I would advise you to please talk to your counselor. Do not talk to your gym trainer about a diet. That would not be the right thing to do. You please go to your nutritionist and talk to her or him about it. Your gym trainer can certainly take care of your exercise. But if you were to ask me, I would say I prefer a balanced diet. A little bit of everything is essential for the body. The body only needs micro amounts of food to be able to survive well and prosperously. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, very straight and correct answer. So there is another question from Bharat. Is doing exercise after meals bad? This is a very common question we come across. What is the best time to do the exercise?
Okay, I'll put it to you like this: heavy meal, light exercise; light meal, heavy exercise. And there is the 2 hour rule. The 2 hour rule simply says that 2 hours after a meal, you may do your exercise. That is the 2 hour rule. Okay. Now, the assumption is that after 2 hours, you'll be doing heavy exercise. Now, what happens if you've just eaten your meal and you want to go for exercise? Then, light meal, heavy exercise. So remember, you can have a light meal and go for heavy exercise. For example, for myself, I've discovered that I exercise best when I have a sandwich or a fruit before I exercise. So simple. A light meal, heavy exercise, light meal. I have also discovered that after my nighttime meal, I prefer to go for a walk, small walk, 20 minutes. It helps to improve circulation, it improves metabolism, it improves digestion. So simple. 2 hours after a meal, exercise. If you had a light meal, you can do heavy exercise almost immediately. If you have a heavy meal, you can do light exercise almost immediately.
Yeah, fuel before the activity. That's a good suggestion. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, and another congratulations to Suja Abbasi. She has lost 5 kilos in 26 days with protein diet. Again, the just now you have answered about the keto diet, and she has used protein diet. Any suggestions on this, sir?
And I have no doubt about the short-term gains. I have no doubt. I mean, it's only logical that if you were to have protein, you're going to increase your musculature, you're probably going to reduce fat since you're also doing exercise and things like this. But you will also have the other aspects of constipation and so on and so forth. You require fiber, you require roughage, you require all these things. With all these things, you cannot maintain a homeostatic intake, a homeostatic structure in the body. So I am not in favor. I congratulate you on your weight loss and I say, well done, well done. You've lost 5 kgs. That's a good thing. Now it's time that you get back to a normal diet, is what I would say.
Yeah, true. And until unless you have a clearance from your medical doctor who knows your health, because taking protein diet only has their own consequences. Short term, long term is that, but health wise, it is also not good. So until unless you have a clearance from your doctor, you should not be taking. Yeah, this is very interesting question. Jincy Joseph asked, this is related to our topic. Why do I gain extra weight once I stop regular exercise, even when I am eating very less? Interesting.
So Jinsi is asking, why do I gain weight after why do I gain weight?
After
I
stopping
don't
the exercise,
exercise, but
even
I
she is
also
having less
eat
diet.
less food. So Jinsi is saying that I eat less food and I still gain weight and I don't do
Mm,
exercise, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'll put it like this. I'll put it like this. Jinsi, your metabolism slows down completely. You are not doing any exercise. So your metabolism drops. When your metabolism drops, you require less food. You are eating less food. But at the same time, you are gaining weight. You are gaining weight because the quantity of food that you are eating, as opposed to your metabolism, is still not too little. Remember, you already have body fat, and that body fat is being utilized. Should, if you were not to eat at all, then I would say that not exercising, your body will go into a situation where it is utilizing its own body fat. But you are eating every day and not doing any exercise, you are adding body fat to your system. But at any rate, beyond the semantics, beyond the discussion, keep in mind, Jinsi, that if you do not exercise, you will put on fat. If you exercise, you will lose fat. If you do not exercise and you diet, you will not be healthy. By simply dieting, your blood circulation doesn't improve, your heart rate doesn't improve, your bones do not become strengthened, your respiration does not improve, you do not sleep better. Diet, eating less food is simply not the best way to be healthy. Neither is it the best way to lose weight. You have to have a combination. Husband and wife together make a great team. Husband alone, which is exercise, is not good enough. Wife alone, which is diet, is not good enough. Marry these two things and you have beautiful children. And those beautiful children are your good health. Think about
Interesting
it like
example.
that.
Interesting example. True. True. I would take two points together. Silky Solanki is a vegetarian, and she has thanks for your tips on the diet. And Mohammed Sunni is asking about the diet plans and other things. For both of your information, we'll be sharing health tips every week. And even though you can have previous, we have 4 years of full health library in our website. Please log into there and you will find every information there. And next week, there will be a webinar on diet planning during Ramadan and other things. And that will be very interesting because our nutrition is very good at that. So it will be very good session for you. Yeah. Now, again, the similar question like Jinsi has asked, Fatima has asked, how to break the weight loss plateau? You have already said in the tips last slide.
Put it to you like this, I believe that the information that I have at this moment is quite inadequate. There is what is known as a set point in the human system. And that set point is what we often refer to as a plateau. Okay. Now, the set point is about 10% above your maximum body weight. Okay. Now, if you want to break the plateau, the only thing that can break your plateau is persistence. You continue to do your exercise irrespective, and you will find that after 3 weeks or 6 weeks, you will again start going down again. The plateau is simply the body's means of adapting itself to energy out and input less. It is just adapting. Once the body adapts itself, it will start going down again. So let me simply say, if you want to break a plateau, if you want to break this plateau, you simply have to continue. I would not advise you to go into any extreme methods. Continue with what you are doing, and you will finally find that you have a downward stretch to help you to lose weight. I don't have all the information, otherwise, I would have given you a far better answer.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. There are three queries, similar queries from VS, Tanusha, and Farah. They are asking about these questions actually are from the hormonal disturbances like thyroid, hypothyroidism, and PCOSC. So next session will be from our endocrinologist. She will be talking about these aspects as well. So that she will be more means accurate to give the answers. Professor will give his side. Sir.
No, you're absolutely right, Doc Wilku. You're absolutely right. I mean, it would be inappropriate for me to talk in terms uh, uh, of this particular topic. It's far better that our endocrinologist should handle this. And you're right. We have these fabulous sessions that will talk about PCOD and all these other aspects, hypothyroidism and all these other aspects. The endocrinologist is best to answer these questions. Also, because it involves medication in some form, and
Yeah.
that medication can best be prescribed by a medical professional.
Yeah. True. There is one statement by Anu Matthews. She has informed about her status. That's a very good one. Mediterranean diet and intermittent fasting, as well as strength training, has helped me reverse my pre-diabetic state, hypercholesteremia also, and start of hypertension to improve sleep. Very good. Any tip on this, sir? She has already used the right way.
Yeah, the only tip I can add to that is to request, who was it, Anju?
Yeah, Anu.
Anu. The only thing I can do is to request Anu to be a prophet and to talk about what she has succeeded in up to now, because this is all that we prescribe. I have nothing more to add. Anu must now become our teacher.
True, true. There is one question from Tanusha. Should any form of fasting, intermittent or liquid fast, be coordinated with different phases of menstrual cycle? Again, this is the question by endocrinologist. She will be the better, as well as our third upcoming webinar by the nutritionist. She will be explaining it more. Okay. Suja Abbasi has, I want to go till up to 70. She has already lost 5 kgs. Now she is saying, I want to go up to 70. And as you say, I will consult with my doctor regarding the protein diet, what we have said. But Professor, you have already spoken about the tips for sustainable weight loss. She has already lost 5 kgs. Now she wanted a target of 70. She want to below 70. Any motivational tip to Suja?
Motivation, Doc W, that is the motivation. The motivation is that she is definitely planning to lose another 5 kgs. My motivation to her is, ma'am, please lose those 5 kgs and give us an opportunity to give you 300 dirhams per kg that you lose. Now, that is the great motivation.
Yeah, true, true. That's true. Okay, Prachi has. Okay, Prachi has. Okay, this we will address later. Prachi, can you WhatsApp me in this DM me your registration number and your
Yes,
mobile
sir.
number so that we
Yes,
can
sir.
check it out.
Yes, sure, sir. I will DM
Okay,
you.
Sanju, my height is 183. What will be my ideal weight to maintain, Professor?
83, Sanju, 83. This is
Yeah.
known as the Broca's index.
Mhm.
Now, the Broca's index is that if your height is 183 minus 100 and you will be 83 kgs, that is your maximum weight. Okay. Now, my height, for example, is 181. So I simply minus 100 and I'm allowed to be 81 kgs. It is with great embarrassment that I have to tell you that I'm 84 kgs. So I need to lose those 3 extra kgs, Sanju. Yeah. So it's simple enough. For all of us, keep in mind, you take your height in centimeters minus 100, and that should be your maximum weight.
Yeah, the simplest way to calculate your weight. I think I have covered all the questions. Still, I have another questions in my WhatsApp. Let me check out. Okay, there is another question which is very interesting. This has been repeated, I think, 3 4 years back. This question was there. Again, somebody has asked. Okay, many people say that you need to sweat during exercise to get maximum benefit of weight loss or fat loss. And somebody suggests to wear a thermals during the exercise. Your suggestion, sir?
You know, I would strongly recommend against wearing thermals inside. In the Middle East, I think you will boil to death in a manner of speaking. So I don't think you should wear thermals inside. But let's talk about sweating. Of course, you will wear thermals if you're living in Europe or living in Sweden or some such things. Uh, Sweating is relevant to your body metabolism. It is also relevant to the outside temperature. Okay. If you work in a gym, you will probably not sweat. If you walk outside, if you're outside, irrespective of whether you exercise or not, you will sweat. But what does sweating do? It removes toxins from the body. So, if you are in the Middle East and you happen to walk outside and you do your exercise, or you're in a gym and you do exercise, your perspiration releases body toxins, etc., and it purifies the blood because you are going to ingest water, etc., etc. So that is good. So then what happens to people who are in England or in Sweden who have a cold climate? For them, urination is the means by which they would then release all their toxins. So either you perspire or you urinate. These are your two options. In the Middle East, we are blessed with beautiful weather and we can afford to do exercise and sweat. But remember that there are people who exercise as efficiently, as well, and achieve as much without sweating. So sweating is by and large a situation of your metabolism as opposed to external temperature. If it is cold, you will not sweat. If it is hot, you will sweat. The metabolism is common to both, and you will benefit from any form of exercise, whether you are sweating or you are not sweating. Okay, sir?
Mm, good explanation, sir. There are two more questions I will take. This is very interesting. Just now, Ahmed has WhatsApped me. You mentioned about the tips to sustain weight loss. What will be your advice for me as he is working 10 to 12 hours and hardly find get to time to exercise? He's too busy.
Mr. Ahmed, you can never be so busy, sir, that you're earning money for your family but not taking care of your own health. You will pay the price for it, sir. I have no advice except to tell you you are responsible to yourself, sir. You have to exercise for half an hour to 1 hour a day. If it means a little bit of less revenue, don't worry about it. In the long run, it's not worth it. Please, friends, no excuses. Even the richest man in the world cannot gain health with all the money he has. You have to exercise. That is the only way you can improve your health. So, getting money and working for money is not going to give you health, dear sir. You have to do it yourself. God has given the poor man and the rich man equal opportunity to be healthy.
True.
He has also given the rich man money. I wish he gives me a little bit. I still will not be able to use that money to get healthy. I have to go out there and do my exercise. So, Mr. Abbott, I would strongly recommend, sir, that you reschedule your time program and you and your dear wife must go out and exercise.
Yes, sir. Sir, last question I'm taking. This is not question from today, but this question was when we started the weight loss challenge, and in the physical category, people were coming. So there is one gentleman, Victor. He is around 38 BMI, over 38 BMI, and I was doing the counseling, and later on next day he has WhatsApped me. I read many information about weight loss in internet. I'm confused. What should I follow? Please suggest. So I told him I will not answer this. Professor will be the right person to answer, and you can watch your answer in the webinar recording. He is flying today. That's the reason he missed the flight webinar. So he will be watching the recording. Your suggestion, sir.
Sir, please tell Mr. Victor that if he does not want to be confused, please do not read the what's it called, the Google or
Google Guru.
yeah. Just if you don't want to be confused, sir, please Just don't read the Google Guru. I'm telling you, there is no better guru than your own counselor. Friends, please trust me. We are all Google doctors. We are all Google doctors. But a Google doctor does not have a signed qualification. It does not come from any university. I mean, it is the University of Google, which is a very confusing university. Okay, now, Google is advantageous to people like Dr. Wilco, for example. When he reads Google, he gets information. He is also able to evaluate it against other information. He is also able to laugh at it and say how stupid this person is. You see, when you are technically knowledgeable, Google is a good means of gaining additional information. When you do not have knowledge on your subject, first, please go to a medical professional. You know, the other day, I mean, the other day there was a person who came to me who rang me up and said, I'm an old gentleman, and he said, I've got some, I'm unable to breathe, etc., etc. I've got some pain in my chest. I'm having a heart attack. He was in the next room. I went next door to him and I said, why do you get the impression that you have a heart attack? He said, it's written here, right here in Google in front of me. Just read it. And signs and symptom of heart attack, pain in the chest, unable to breathe. I said, yes, yes, is all this is true. I said, I have to tell you, please don't read this, you'll get confused. But if you have any of these symptoms, please go ahead and see the doctor. So he went and saw the doctor, and the doctor told him, you have come to me 2 times already today. What are you coming here for now? So, friends, the Google is referral for intelligent, for qualified individuals. For the rest of us, it is a frightening situation. Please consult your doctor. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. On the just last of I finished my questions. So just last note, I'll be saying the final weighing. One has asked final weighing for that. All informations you are getting in the website, please log into your website using your email as a user ID and password you have created during the registration. And you can watch all the informations what we are sending, all recordings of webinars, current webinars also, and the previous 4 years webinars you will be getting, and whatever health tips we are sending to you on your email is already there in your dashboard, so you can have everything. And the final weighing will be on 17th and 18th of May. So for UAE people, that is the day on the physical category, those who have participated. And the virtual, you need to submit your final weighing by 19th of May, 5 p.m. You have to upload the certificate on your dashboard. So for now, everything is controlled. Professor, thank you very much for your wonderful session. As always, very informative, very motivative. And let's see how much we get motivated. And even I have to lose weight. This time I am also challenging myself to lose some weight. I don't know how much is that sum, but definitely after your motivational speak, I will be doing. Now I am free to do it. So thank you very much, Professor Kennedy. Thank you everyone for participation. Thank you.